What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video with me and my bro MVP, Daniel Laskewitz. Welcome back, sir. Everyone has loved video number 1 on Approvals V2, and I have had so many people message me and ask, when are you doing the next version? And so, for all of you out there, we are doing it. Daniel's here today to build this right before your very eyes. Yeah. So, bro, I'm going to go ahead and just step out of the way, hand it to you. And you're going to intro yourself today. You're going to let people know who you are. Oh, good. That's for
great. A change. That's going to be great.
Yes, they're going to like
I thought that was a good thing.
Totally.
Yeah. So let's start with the agenda. I'll introduce myself for a change. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about Approvals V2. After that, we're going to talk about adaptive cards. I'm going to talk about the Microsoft Teams connector. I'm gonna demo how to create an adaptive card and how to configure those. And then I'm gonna do approvals via Teams, because that was the thing I did in the last video, and I really want to show you how that works.
Yeah, so people are stoked for this.
Yeah, so let's go.
Let's do it.
So yeah, my name is Daniel Laskewitz and I'm 32 years old. I'm a business productivity consultant at Society. And I'm a business applications MVP since 2 years now. I'm the founder of the Dutch Power Apps and Flow user group. And if you want to reach out to me, you can always send me a message on Twitter, or you can connect to me on LinkedIn. So that was pretty good, right, for an introduction?
That was good. And his user group is phenomenal. They're a great group of people. I went there this year, this year. And if you're in Amsterdam, hit him up and see if you can come hang out with his user group. They're great.
Yeah. So for the Approvals V2, I'm gonna keep it short. You have to take a look at the video John and I did earlier, and if we're lucky, somebody's gonna put an annotation on the video here.
I'm gonna put it. Just look above. Look above. It's up there. Click up there to see the first video.
So take a look at that, and then come back to this video to see the rest. So adaptive cards. John, have you already worked with those?
You know, to be quite honest, I have done it a couple of times. I've built the adaptive card. I've built the flow that consumes the adaptive card, but I haven't actually used it. I've just played.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. And adaptive cards are being used in multiple products. You can use them in Teams. You can use them in Outlook. You can use them in Bot Framework. You can use them on all kinds of places, even in Windows, in the Start menu, actually. So that's really cool. And you can now also use them through Flow, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. First, I want to show you the Adaptive Cards Designer. And if you go to adaptivecards.io/designer, you will get there. And it has some demo material. It has some examples, and you can really easily configure an adaptive card you can use within Flow, for instance.
Yeah, this is what I used to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really nice. And at the end, you can copy your JSON, and it's always a JSON guy, right? Always JSON, but
that JSON.
Yeah, what the fuck? But you can just copy the JSON, and then you can include it in Flow, and then you can actually replace stuff with the dynamic content you use in Flow. So for instance, if you would like to have an adaptive card when somebody tweets something about your company or about an event you host, then you can replace all kinds of fields in the adaptive card. And you can, for instance, replace some of the text by the tweet text. You can replace the name with the name of the guy or girl who tweets it. And you can also replace the photo with the image they use on Twitter. So those kinds of things are possible. And it's really nice to use their examples and then work from there, because they're really easy to use. And if you see at the screenshot at the left side, you have all kinds of options, elements, containers, inputs you can use in the adaptive card. So the Microsoft Teams connector has a lot of new options. They have a lot of new actions. There's a lot of it in preview actually, as you can see. The post a message v3 is, for instance, a really new one. I just saw that last week, and it's now possible if you want to post a message to edit it with the rich text editor, the one you already know from the send email action you use in Outlook. And the Flow team is working on including that in multiple ways. So
it's the first time I've seen a V3 action.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the V2 action was really not in there that long.
Yeah.
And it's really been out. It really has a lot of feature development in there. But today we are gonna actually talk about the adaptive cards, which we are gonna use with the Flowbot. And there's actually two actions for that. The first one is post your own adaptive card as the Flowbot to a channel. And the other one is post an adaptive card as the Flowbot to a user. And there's, for some examples, for some use cases, the channel is an obvious choice. For instance, for the Twitter example I already told you, it's really easy to post them just to a channel where you have the marketeers and the communication people in there who can immediately reply or open the tweet and do stuff with that. The Flowbot to a user action, that's really interesting when you have something like approvals, which I'm going to show in a bit. So let's go into the demo.
Demo time.
Demo time.
Have you made your offering to the demo gods today?
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of bad weather here right now, so I hope I'm gonna make it.
Okay.
So when you go to adaptivecards.io, you get this page, and you can actually see stuff about adaptive cards, and you can see the documentation, the schema explorer, samples. There's of course there's a blog about new updates, and you have the designer. And the designer I already have open here. And if you look at this, then you can just change the stuff around and then see some other samples in here. And for now, I'm going to use the bot framework web chat, and I'm going to you can actually select the title and just change it. So I already had a tweet about event. So let's tweet about Dutch Power Apps and Flow user UG. I'm going to shorten it down because otherwise it looks ugly. And you can of course you can select something else and then just change that around as well. You can change this one to tweet text, for instance. And you can also select this and then delete it so that it looks a lot more cleaner. The due date button, I don't want to have that. I just want to delete that as well. And of course, there's like a URL in here for the button, and you have the title. So I can, for instance, use open tweet in here, and I'm gonna change this one with the I'm gonna just use tweet URL, and then you can actually copy it. And when you copy it and you go to flow, you can create a flow, and then I'm going to use the flow button action. I'm going to create my flow, and I'm going to add a new step, Microsoft Teams. I'm going to post an adaptive card as the Flowbot to a channel. I'm going to use community events, and I have an amazing event channel in here, and I can just paste the whole adaptive card in here. And when I do that and I save this, I can test it out, perform the trigger action, click save and test, continue, here we go, run the flow. It's running now. And then it ran successfully. So let's check that out. I can already see I have my adaptive card in here. So it's that easy to actually put an adaptive card in your channel. But if you want to make it more interesting, you of course can edit this, change it to a different trigger. For now, I'm not gonna do that, but you can, for instance, put a Twitter trigger in here and search for a hashtag. And whenever the hashtag is there, you can replace all the different parts I just have configured in the text. You can you can actually use those from the dynamic content field. So the URL in here, I could select that from somewhere else. I don't have the inputs in here right now, but it's really easy to do that. So I really encourage you to just go to the designer and put in all kinds of placeholder text and replace that with the different parts of the dynamic content.
I think I'm gonna start burning some flow runs doing this. I'm gonna start monitoring a couple hashtags in some Teams channels.
It's really nice that you can just open the tweet, or you can. Some websites actually have like it's not like Twitter, but some other places have like a reply function in the URL, and that's really easy to just start a reply immediately. So it's not with Twitter, but for other websites it might be really easy.
Very cool.
Oh, this is also a really nice view, by the way. This is just
that's new.
come out.
Isn't that nice?
It's
yeah,
really,
I like that.
really awesome. I like the cleanness of it. It really looks clean and just really normal. So let's just jump into the subject everybody wants to know about, and that's of course the approval I showed earlier. So let's do the approval. I'm going to start again with the manually trigger a flow. After that, I want to have my manager. So I'm going to use the get manager action. And I'm going to select that. I'm going to select from the dynamic content field, I'm going to use the user email from the person who triggered the flow. And then I'm going to get the manager of that person. Next, I'm going to go to approvals. I'm going to select the create an approval because it's really important to create an approval because that one contains the adaptive card we're going to use in a bit. So the start and wait for an approval doesn't provide you the adaptive card we're going to use. So that's really important. So use the create an approval v2, select that. Then you can, of course, select your approval type. So you can do approve and reject, but you can also use custom types. So you can also use your own custom response types you want to have. For now, I'm just going to choose the approve and reject. And here we go. So I'm going to create a title for the approval. So really cool Teams approval with John. I'm gonna assign it to the manager that I just got from the get manager action. I'm gonna fill in some details. So this approval is really cool. And I can use an item link and an item link description, for instance, with SharePoint reviews. That's really easy. Or if you have a document you want to review, you can use that. The next important part is show advanced options. Because you can select a requester. In this case, it's the user email from the manually trigger flow. So I'm going to select that one. And you've got the enable notifications setting. And I'm going to use the no option in here. Because if I keep it at yes, then an email will arrive in my email box. And I want to prevent that because I want to put the approval into Teams, not into my Outlook account again.
And so if you left that on yes, you could essentially do Outlook and Teams.
Yeah, but the problem is they really don't communicate with each other. So that's why I want to have it only in Teams.
Okay, good to know. So you want to
Yeah,
choose one or the other. Okay.
yeah. So the next step is actually I'm gonna go to Teams, and I'm gonna select that connector, and then I'm gonna scroll down to the post your own adaptive card as the flowbot to a user. Then I'm gonna use the mail field again from the manager, because the manager hasn't received it yet. Because of course, I disabled the notification. So that's why we need to do that here. And as the message, I'm gonna use the output from the create an approval action. So I can select adaptive card here. And again, if I add another action here and I'm gonna use approvals, I'm just going to show you, if you use the start and wait for an approval, and you'll just select one thing here. If I scroll down, there's actually no adaptive card in here for the start and wait for an approval. It only has that when you create an approval. So
Got it.
make sure to select that. I'm
Good to
going to delete
know.
this
Good to
again.
know.
Yeah. I'm going to do a new step, of course. I'm going to do a condition. And sorry, I first have to do a different one. I'm going to go to approvals again, because I also have to wait for the approval. I'm going to use the ID from the first action, the create an approval one, and then now I have an outcome. And if the outcome is equal to approve,
Okay, so let's
you
real
can
quick,
do
let's
whatever you
pause
want.
there.
Yeah,
Just for everyone who's used to approvals, you've always built your conditions on something called response, and
yep,
now it has changed to outcome. So this is
yeah,
very important to note. This is like a huge breaking change for those of
yeah,
us who've built approvals for a long time. It's now outcome.
yeah. And there's also like responses, all of the responses and stuff like that, because it can have multiple responses
Right.
in approval. So that's
Just a bit of a
what you mentioned.
nomenclature change.
Yeah. So if it's approved, you can of course create an Outlook email or something, and send somebody an email and say.
And for those of you that be building in SharePoint, you could do an update item here to mark it
Yeah,
approved, and you could do all sorts of things. That's the other
approved.
part of this is he's using an instant trigger right now, but you could use anything to trigger this. Dynamics,
Yeah,
SharePoint, SQL, whatever you need.
exactly. John?
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear you again. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
hear
no.
you.
I just stopped talking. I was
Okay,
letting you take back
sorry.
over.
So the next one is the response after that. I'm gonna do it again and reject. Reject. Oh, there we go. Reject. And now I'm gonna save it. So let's just start now.
All right.
I'm gonna do the test, perform the trigger action, and here we go. To run it. So it got my manager already.
Yep.
And my manager is actually manager. So I really made it simple.
Yep.
It created the approval. It already posted the adaptive card as the
Okay.
flowbot to the user, and it's now waiting for a response. So let's switch to my manager here. I've got a great manager here. Here he is. And now I can see I have a really cool Teams approval with John. It's been requested by the guy who has been triggering it, and it shows the detail in here. This approval is really cool.
Yes.
So I of course approve of this message. So
Yep.
let's just approve it. Approved. I haven't used the comments in my output, but just let's submit it.
So Daniel, while that's going, there's a storm happening at your house right now,
Yeah.
isn't there? Okay, I was
Yeah.
thinking I'm seeing lightning and hearing rain. That's what you're hearing, guys, just if you're wondering.
Yeah, there's a really big storm here right now, but we're still going strong.
Right on. Demo
Yeah,
gods are with us.
yeah, they are. They are actually really close. So, So what you can see now, I approved the approval, and it has been updated right now.
Nice.
So you can
Oh,
always
that's
see
cool.
that it's updated, and you're not able to do that again. for
Yeah,
instance.
I like how the adaptive card updates like that. That's
Yeah.
neat.
So now you can see the condition already ran. The expression result was true, and it sent an email to me. And let's just show you that for now. There it is.
Beautiful.
So it has been approved. Still with low importance.
All right, you got to
You
change
really have
that.
to work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I should talk to the team. I don't know why they do that, but I
Yeah.
think it's for spam rules.
Yeah.
They're trying
Oh,
to be minimally offensive to spam filters.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, it's still stupid.
yeah. So
Dude.
what's really
Yeah.
cool about this is that yeah, you can now just create an approval and post it to Teams.
It's
And
so
I think
easy.
lots of people like it.
Yeah, that was so easy.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be harder than this, actually. I was
Yeah.
like expecting, more, but this is awesome, dude. This is
Yeah.
awesome. And
And
so, guys, go ahead. No, go ahead.
what I really like about this is actually that you just you put in one simple output and that's it.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah. It's
So that's really nice.
really cool.
Yeah.
And so guys, the thing I want to point out about this is you can use it with everything, right? Wherever
Yeah.
you need an approval, whether that's a SharePoint list or library, an Excel document. If you're using the Word connector to create Word template documents and need those approved, right? There's a multitude of ideas and sources that you can be utilizing this.
Yeah.
And so I want to see what you guys come up with. Tell me where you're going to use Teams approvals on now that Daniel has taught you and me the way, because I know I'm going to do some of them, and I think I'm actually going to go and do the Twitter monitoring cards right away, because that'll be good for me to be able to just get a singular view of what's happening around certain hashtags.
Totally.
Man, awesome. As always, blowing my mind.
Well, that's it for today.
That's
a
it.
Really short one. Yeah.
It was. It was short,
it's so
but,
easy.
but impactful and amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Daniel, thank you so much for being with us as always, bro.
Welcome.
Really appreciate it. All right, so go and follow Daniel. Hey, bring up your intro slide one more time so we can see your Twitter and your blog and stuff. Let's go back to that.
We go.
There it is, at Laskewitz, and there's his LinkedIn. So connect with Daniel, follow Daniel, and look for him at a conference. He's very likely to be at a conference near you. I think he's done 30 talks in the last year, something crazy.
Way too much.
Way too much. All right, that's it from us, guys. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss another video. Much love from us. See you in the next one.
Peace out.